It's a beautiful language. A simple hello is Mbula Vinaka, or even just Mbula, which technically means like hello and life and health. And when you say Mbula Vinaka, it's like hello, good health to you, sort of thing. So yeah, Mbula Vinaka sa Valavatiko would be how are you. I could say Naivangu. I guess now Naivangu Daniel, but in the mission field you'd say Naivangu Elder Hancock. That's my name is Elder Hancock or Daniel or whatever your name is. If in a door approach you could say, Mbulavanaka, Kerauna Andal Kolotu, Manalotu Jisu Karisto Nialando Don Wendaindai. That's we're missionaries from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It's really a fun, beautiful language. There's a bit of word of caution. There is dialects throughout Fiji, and so some areas you might go to and it'll be a little different than what you learned in the MTC, and so it might be a little tricky to pick up on those little changes here and there, but overall they're not too bad. You can, once you learn what a couple of the main changes are in those areas, then you can understand pretty well. I probably broke down a few times in the MTC, or was really close to, just being so nervous, thinking, oh my gosh, what is he saying? Like, the first day I went in the MTC, I got a little freaked out because our teacher spoke in nothing but Fijian. And I was just like, no, not happening. It scared me quite a bit. But in all honesty, like, it is really scary, and picking up the beginnings of it is the hardest part. Because it does, it's different than English grammar, and there's a couple different principles that we're not used to in terms of speaking it. And so just that beginning is hard. But once you get the grasp on those beginning things, it's actually a really simple language. And you get those, and you can just learn, and it starts coming a lot easier. There's not a whole lot of rules to it. There's no conjugating or any of those tricky things that might be in other languages. It's a really simple language. So it's just a matter of, having the faith and the courage to get through that first part of learning it. As far as learning it, I got to when we first arrived in Fiji and I said hello to the first missionary there I saw, I attempted to say it in Fijian like I learned in the MTC, and I'm pretty sure I just babbled sounds that didn't make sense at all. And so it took a while. Even in the field, my first area was an English ward, and so I didn't get the chance to use it too much. I could have used it more than I did, but I was more afraid to do so, and that was probably more fault on my part. And so it wasn't until my second area that I got sent to a Fijian branch with a Fijian companion who knew very little English that I was quite compelled to learn it. But once that happened, I was able to start picking it up in a matter of just a couple months. Within a few months, I felt comfortable leading lessons and teaching, and so it comes. It'll come once you get past that first tricky part. From my understanding, Fiji it's part of Polynesia. It's Polynesian, but it's also technically Melanesian. So it's kind of like cross between those. I don't know too much about the origins where it comes from, but it has a lot of similarities to Tongan. I had a Maori companion who said as he was learning it, he realized it was fairly similar to the Maori language. And so, I mean, it has its ties to the other Polynesian languages and languages around, but I don't know too much about the history or exactly where it came from, aside from that.
Learning Fijian was pretty tough for me, but it's fun because I've kind of come full loop because now I'm a teacher of Fijian at the MTC. I remember starting out, the pronunciation's a little bit different. Your C in English, it's the ka sound. In Fijian, it makes like the th sound, like you're going to say the or something. It's the noise is the C. D, there's like an N before it that's not right. It's nd. So like something's right. Ndondonu. G is the nga sound, which is the hardest thing for palangis or white people. It's like the end of sing. If you're like sing a song, the nga and sing is that noise. You hear that all the time. And the Q is the nga. There's just a little bit different pronunciation, but the vowels are a, e, I, o, u. Same with all the Polynesian languages. You just have your a, e, I, o, u. So that's nice. You combine them. A, u is au. You combine vowels and just make it. It sounds really pretty, I think. There's a ton of dialects too. There's over 200 dialects in Fijian. Every village has their own dialect, and every province kind of has their own dialect going on. So some are really similar to the main one, which is Vosavan Bao, is the main dialect. It's what we teach at the MTC. It's what almost all Fijians can understand and speak Vosavan Bao. And then to their own different places, they will have their own dialect also. And if you're able to pick up the dialect, then you are even more popular with them. They are even more ready to listen to what you have to say because of the time you're taking to learn it. Instead of like Tuvaluan, they have the faka prefix for a verb. In Fijian, it's waka with a V. And they don't say their V's like English. In English, we go va. They use their lips and go va. So it's like waka. And to say like you're grateful, it's waka vina bunakataka. And one of the dialects I learned, you drop the K for all words, and then some words you just change it up a little bit. And the taka, if you're going to be, it's one of your transitive endings. So if there's going to be an object to the verb, you change it up. So one of the dialects, instead of saying waka vina nakataka to be grateful, you'd say wa vina ta'ina. So it just mix it up a little bit, but it's really fun. It's fun to learn the dialects. It's fun to ask the members. They're always willing to help you. You're going to say, hey, how do you speak this? How do you say this in Fijian? And they'll help you out. And it kind of grammatically, it's different than English. You're third person. Instead of saying like, God loves us, you'd say, He loves us, God. And same with Tuvaluan. So your grammar is going to get messed up. And when I came home from my mission, my English was horrible. And my inflection in the voice, because they go all over the place. And when I got home, I do that with my English. And I got made fun of all the time, but it's all right. I thought it was worth it. Just dive right into the language. And for me, the easiest way to learn it, I tried in the MTC and I kind of struggled learning out of a book. I learned a lot when I just was able to be there and be with the natives and hear them speak it. And if I'd seen something like in a book and I heard it spoken, then it really clicked in my brain. I was like, oh, I remember studying that. And I hear it spoken, and then I try to mimic that, and just being with the members and being with the investigators and with the natives and trying and being okay with messing up, being okay with getting made fun of is how I learned. I remember my first Sunday, I stood up at the pulpit because they asked me to bear my testimony, and I couldn't say, I was trying to say my brothers and sisters, natadingu, kena nganengu, wakayalo. I couldn't say nganengu because of the G sound, and I was just like nga, and I couldn't pronunciate it correctly, and they all just start laughing at me, and I just start laughing with them, and we're all having a good time. And being able to laugh at yourself and accept that you're not going to be good at it for a long time will help you to learn it, because you'll just keep trying. And as you try, you learn, and as you learn, you grow and you get better. So.